Well met and welcome back to the Heroes of the Storm Summer Championship, brought to you live from Jönköping, Sweden. Only after 5 days of group stages here, not only in the Stockholm DreamHack studios, but also live at the big venue that is DreamHack Summer. Only 4 teams are left remaining to compete for the title of the Summer World Champion, and of course to get their big share of the massive prize pool that is of course $500,000 US. 2 days ago, we saw 2 teams emerging from Group A, which are, of course, MVP Black, the reigning champion from the spring season, and E-Star Gaming, the hungry team from China, to show once and all that they are able to take the title. Yesterday, on the other hand, we saw My Insanity and Team Tempest advance from Group A, and boy, put they up a good show for us. Now, many cores have fallen, and many heroes have fallen as well, but with me, still standing strong, are my fellow analysts and casters. Leading the charge is the giant known as J-How. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm absolutely excited. I mean, you talked about it. I think things have played out somewhat like we expected, but we are looking at My Insanity here. It's their chance to shine and try and take down what we have deemed basically the top tier of the Asian teams between China and Korea. I mean, today is going to be a stellar day, and I think a lot of people are going to make big names for themselves.
Of course, we're also being joined by Dr. Dread himself, once again here holding his own on the stage. How are you feeling today, sir?
I'm doing great. I am so looking forward to today's matches, finally getting to the top 4, and to see how, if My Insanity, the only Western team left, has any chance to be able to make it even farther into this tournament.
And unfortunately, Uncle James' boys, Team Dignitas, they didn't make it out yesterday. But hey, we still have My Insanity representing the West. How are you doing, Carolize?
I'm doing very well. Very, very well indeed. Looking forward to this top 4, looking at seeing how obviously the top 3 we kind of expected to be here. My Insanity is the one that we thought a European team was going to be there considering the group makeup. It was My Insanity in the end. They proved they were the best in Europe, and now they've got to go that one step further.
Now let's get straight to the nitty-gritty and show what has happened on the way to this Summer Championship. We see all the regions that were sending teams here to compete. Only the best of the best have made it, but only 3 of those regions are still left in the tournament. It is, of course, the Korean Colossi, Team Tempest, and MVP Black still going strong. But the Chinese powerhouse that is E-Star Gaming is also here to compete and get a split of that prize money, and holding here to represent the European region and, of course, the West as a whole is, of course, the big surprise, My Insanity. Looking strong, looking flexible, as always, J-How.
I mean, this is what Heroes is made for. The top 4 teams, MVP Black, before a few weeks ago, was deemed the favorite to just come in and blow everybody away. But we saw Tempest take them down. Now there are 4 teams here. All could win it. My Insanity probably looking at the minor underdog. But I don't want to count them out at all. All 4 teams, guys, I mean, could potentially win this. I mean, this is why today is the day, and this is where champions are made. I am absolutely excited. This is the best. I can't wait for this to play out. I seriously can't.
Definitely. You make a very good point there. I mean, all the teams that have made it this far into the playoff stage, they can't be disregarded. They cannot be deemed as a dark horse anymore. They are all looking solid. Of course, we see what we've got going here for you guys today. The bracket, the final playoff bracket here, consisting of 2 semifinals. Each of them is going to be a best of 5, just like the grand finals. First things first, we're going to kick things off, of course, with MVP Black, the reigning world championship, the reigning world champion, against My Insanity. Then later on during the stream, we're going to kick things off with Team Tempest against E-Star Gaming, the second seeds in their respective groups. Now, what do you think about the overall standings here? Is there a team that we can discount or disregard? Probably not.
I don't think so. I think MVP Black has looked really strong here, but so has Tempest, so has E-Star. My Insanity has been duking it out. They've been fighting tooth and nail. We talk about best of 5 series. You could have a chance for a slip up to where the pressure's not heavily on you after game number 1. I think that's going to be the biggest thing with a best of 5. It allows you to take a little bit of pressure off of you the first game and not necessarily feel like you've got to basically hit for the fences, you know, in game number 2. So I think there's a lot to be said about best of 5, and I think that's where you really determine who's the best.
Yeah, there's a big difference in it. I mean, like, even when if you use the comparison of when I talked to Dignitas yesterday, they said that, well, technically My Insanity have never beaten them in a best of 5, but they always beat them in best of 3s. So there's that kind of weird comparison that you see. For me, when I look at the top 4, I see MVP as a team so far that has gone through this tournament and has looked championship tier, but every other team for me so far hasn't proved to look like championship tier. I don't think E-Star has impressed me as much as I would like to see them as a championship team. And Tempest, likewise, coming off the back of Korea, I would like to see more from them. So I'm very excited to see how the best of fives are going to play out.
And of course, best of fives are always known to be a little bit more intense, to be a little bit more flexible. Also, this meta in the meta is a term that we hear very often, Dread. How strong of an impact can that have during the draft?
When you get to the grand finals and even here in the semifinals, it can have a huge influence, especially when the teams are very close. I think, like, for instance, E-Star and Tempest might be a series where we see that develop heavily, and then also in the grand finals. This tournament alone has slightly developed its own meta, not too much away from the core of every region, but again, when you get to the very end of the tournament is usually when that kind of breaks and it becomes like just this team has one and it just mixes everything together.
Yeah. All right. For now, though, guys, it's time to get serious. The first best of five that we will be showing you live from DreamHack Summer during the Heroes of the Storm Summer Championship is going to be between MVP Black and My Insanity. Give it up and bring those teams in here.
All right, guys, this is MVP Black versus My Insanity. The powerhouse versus what you could consider the underdog, but Dread just talked about it. The fact that they have this weird off meta, is it going to be able to stack up against MVP Black? We are about to find out. I cannot wait to see how this plays out.
I think that best of five that you brought up earlier is a great selling point for My Insanity. That diversity, creativity that they have is something that breathing room that they get in those first games that they aren't panicked about having to win it out the gates gives them a far bigger edge here than if it was a best of three.
I'm expecting My Insanity to approach the first game as a feel-out game and kind of see how much their normal game stacks up against My Insanity MVP, because they haven't really had proper chance to do that. And then from there, there's the potential that they do get wild, because let me tell you, they do still have a lot in their pockets.
I think one of the cool things is that with 5 maps, all of a sudden we've seen kind of a shift in what we normally see for the general map picks. But with 5 maps, it means that you can have strategies on maps like Towers of Doom, stuff like that, things that we haven't necessarily seen. What type of strategical advantage can one team have? I think that's something that could be coming out here soon.
And you cannot really say what My Insanity is going to feel first, because we have seen such a diversity when it comes to drafting out of them, as it is their trademark. I mean, we've seen Cho'Gall yesterday, even against a team like Team Tempest. They are not afraid to pull something out of their pockets that nobody is expecting.
Yeah, they can do a lot, really. I just question how concrete that creativity is going to be at times. Like, yeah, we know the Lunara, we know the high value on Johanna at times. We have seen this over and over again, and yes, it does show signs of success, but you're facing MVP Black. That has never worked against a team like MVP Black, so you need to make sure you know the in and out of every advantage in this unique comp that you're going to have.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Again, as to reiterate, there is things that they have available to them that we have not seen yet at this tournament, because they have got these kind of pocket strats that they can bring out. But as you say, against MVP Black, sometimes that can be a little shaky.
But for now, we're going to focus on their Korean opponents. As we've said it many times before, the reigning Spring World Championship, MVP Black, the legendary Armada, if you will. We had the chance to sit down with them and talk about their mission to defend their title here at DreamHack Summer.